So back in 2015, I covered the death of Paul Gray using Gematria. And then later on, I discovered that Slipknot has a song called Gematria, the killing name. And for whatever the reason, I decided to reanalyze some of the things that I had previously talked about and then built a little bit more on them. If you've never heard of Gematria, it is the practice of coding numbers into words. And if you watched my 3 years worth of videos, you will see countless examples of how people die by the numbers, people are murdered by these same numbers. It's why the Police have a song called Murder by Numbers, 1, 2, 3. It's as easy as your ABCs. It's the practice of coding numbers into words. People get murdered by these. Our media is scripted by these same numbers. Our sports leagues are scripted by these numbers. Just a really quick example, yesterday we had Floyd Mayweather beat Conor McGregor, right? It was 714 days after Mayweather's last fight. Mayweather equals 714 in Gematria. Conor McGregor's birthday, July 14th, 7/14. Floyd Mayweather equals 224, and he was born on February 24th, 2/24. You know, all throughout history, it's the same way. It's not just limited to sports and the media. It is in our history. So let's just look at some of the things really quick. Just the word Gematria in Gematria equals 74. And I'll leave a link in the description to my how-to Gematria video. I talk a whole lot about 74 and its importance. The word Masonic equals 74. Jesus equals 74. Cross, Messiah, Gospel, Joshua, Yeshua. The word Gematria equals 74. The word English equals 74. You know, that it's based on the English language. Independence Day equals 74, the small way. And our nation's independence is 7/4, right? Oregon, the only state that equals 74. It's the 33rd state. 33, supposedly the age that Jesus died on the cross, right? Also, 33 is the highest known degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And the Freemasons are people I talk about a lot on this channel because they're people I believe understand this knowledge and they use it to their advantage. They murder people by the numbers for this system, or they at least understand this system and they understand why these people are getting murdered by the numbers. So, I guess moving along here, Corey Todd Taylor in Gematria equals 74. Paul Dedrick Gray equals 74, right? So, Slipknot has a song called Gematria, the killing name. And if you know anything about Slipknot, it's actually on the album called All Hope Is Gone. And it's track number 2. Track number 2 on All Hope Is Gone. Let me point it out here. Track number 2. And Paul Gray and Slipknot, they all were assigned a number, right? Like Corey Taylor is the number 8. Paul Gray was the number 2. And he's the first one to die out of Slipknot. They have the song called Gematria, the killing name. The next album after Paul Gray died was even called The Gray Chapter or whatever. So, I don't know. I've talked about this before. I'm going to find my old video and leave a link because there was a whole bunch of stuff tied to the death of Freddie Gray and Kanye West singing at Glastonbury and Corey Taylor telling him he wasn't the greatest living rock star of all time and whatnot. And a whole bunch more to it. I'll find that video. I'll put it in the link. But anyway, back to the Gematria. So the word Gematria also equals 38, the small way, which is Pythagorean Gematria. And even if you write out Pythagoras of Samos in the small way, he equals 74. And the reduced method is called Pythagorean Gematria. And this right here, the way you get to it is A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and so on until you get to Z. Z is the 26th letter. The small way is A equals 1, B equals 2, but when you get to J, J is the 10th letter. and you take 1 plus 0 and you get 1. So you reduce it. So another example would be the letter K would be the 11th letter. You would take 1 plus 1 and you would get a 2. So K would equal 2. And that's how you get the small way. The word gematria equals 38. And if you remember, Paul Gray died at the age of 38. Paul Gray equals 38. They also called him the pig that equals 38. He was posthumously awarded the Kerrang that equals 38. The word death equals 38. I'll come back to this in a second. I'm going to go back to my post because I don't remember all of the stuff off the top of my head here, but I pointed out that, like I said, Gematria equals 74, Corey Todd Taylor equals 74. In the previous video, I talked about how Wikipedia changes everything. They literally have people sitting on there all day long changing stuff back. And Corey Taylor was on this Wikipedia Fact or Fiction on YouTube, and he said that on his license, his name was Josh. His middle name was Josh, not Todd, like Wikipedia said. And I changed it, and then not even like an hour later, it was already changed back to Corey Todd Taylor. Like, who's sitting on there all day just watching Corey Taylor, you know? And multiple other things, but they changed it back at a certain time as well, like 4:31 in the morning, just after I talked about Paul Gray dying in room 431, which is the 83rd prime, the reflection of 38. But anyway, the word killing equals 74, Gematria 74, Corey Todd Taylor 74, Des Moines, Iowa, and the reverse way equals 74. So Paul Gray equals 38, died age 38, Gematria equals 38, the pig equals 38, killing equals 38 the small way. He died in room 431, which is the 83rd prime number, the reflection of 38. He also died in Johnston, Iowa, which is a suburb of Des Moines. And I just in 2017, I learned this reverse method that is also used, and I've documented it multiple times, how it makes a lot of sense. And I'll show you really quick why it makes sense. All of this is based on God. The word God equals 26. That's why our alphabet is 26 letters and whatnot. But notice God equals 26 or he equals 17 the small way. The word hell equals 17 in the reverse small way. Heaven equals 55 in the normal way, and God in the reverse way equals 55. And there's a whole bunch of other examples I could give you, you know. The word Satan equals 55, heaven equals 55, cloud equals 55, you know. But I just want to point out the significance of the reverse method. And anyway, Johnston equals 38 in the reverse reduced method. If you write out Johnston, Iowa, it equals 163 in the alphabetic order. 163 is the 38th prime number. So let's look at how the calendar syncs up. So we got Paul Gray. We'll go to 2010, the year that he died. And he died on May 24th, which is an interesting day in itself, but I don't want to lose you in what I'm talking about. But it's the 144th day of the year. And that number is always around ritual sacrifice and killing and everything else. If you write out 44, it equals 144. The first president to die in office, William Henry Harrison. Henry Harrison died on 4/4. Was only president for 4 weeks, 4 days. JFK, the 44th term president. Martin Luther King Jr. died on 4/4. Abe Lincoln had a dream 10 days before he died or whatever. And then he got shot on 14/4, a lot like 144. If you write out 10 days later, it equals 144. But anyway, if you go from Paul Gray's death, or from his birthday to the day that he died, it's a span of 46 days, also 1 month, 16 days. And check out Slipknot in Gematria. Slipknot equals 116, a lot like 1 month, 16 days. But also in the reverse reduced method, Slipknot equals 46. And they even tried to blame his death on the doctor, Daniel Baldy, that equals 46. To put it in perspective, Slipknot, the small way, equals 35 too. And they call their followers maggots that in reverse equal 35. And I mean, just think about it. Why does Slipknot have a song called Gematria, the killing name? Most people have no idea what Gematria is. They've never even heard of it. And they love Slipknot and they probably love this song, but they have no idea what they're actually telling you in this song. Gematria, the killing name, something that me and others have been exposing for a long time. You know, people being murdered by the numbers, people dying by the numbers, or being killed by the numbers. I also pointed out the Gray chapter equals 74. That was the next album after Paul Gray had died. Paul Dedrick Gray equals 74, and so on. And look at Corey Taylor. Just Corey Taylor equals 58, and in reverse 140. Des Moines equals 58 the reverse reduced way, and it also equals 140 in reverse. The killing name equals 140. Freemasonry equals 58. Corey Taylor is number 8. If you write out number 8, it equals 58. The stuff I was talking about in regards to Kanye West was all tied into Beyonce and Taylor Swift and Queen Elizabeth, because Kanye was singing the Queen song at Glastonbury. You know, Freddie Mercury had AIDS. He died of bad blood. Think about Taylor Swift's song and him getting on stage, whatever. But there was a whole bunch of stuff about how at the next year or whatever it was in 2015 at the VMAs, Taylor Swift said that Kanye West was studying the craft when she was a little kid. She didn't say studying crafts. She said the craft, which is Freemasonry. And everything about Kanye was connected to 139. He got on the stage and made a joke because he got on the stage and was going to say something about Beck's album called Morning Phase that equals 139. Then 139 days later, he was singing the song at Glastonbury. And then 139 days later, we got the Paris attacks that he was connected to. A whole bunch of stuff, but the word Freemasonry, the big way, equals 139. So I guess just pointing out that, you know, it's connected back to Freemasonry yet again. I also pointed out that Paul Gray died 319 days after his birthday, and the word killing equals 319 in Satanic Gematria. The word Masonic equals 319 in Satanic Gematria. Lucifer equals 319 in Satanic Gematria. The opening words of the song, 12-8-73, also equal 319. Corey Taylor's birthday, a date numerology of 93. 12 plus 8 plus 73, 93. The word Saturn equals 93, and Saturn is the keeper of time. Saturn is most likely the god of this world, the god who is controlling the system of numbers, and it is the god that all of these people worship, the Zionist Jews, the Freemasons, whether they know that they're worshiping this god or not. That's what it all comes back to, is Saturn. Saturn is the keeper of time. Let's type up some other stuff here. Keeper of time equals 61. Literally, God in Jewish Gematria equals 61. Jesus equals 61. Christian equals 61. Church equals 61. Time equals 61. What am I forgetting? There's a whole bunch of them. Holy Spirit equals 61. Think about that. God equals 61. Jesus equals 61. Holy Spirit equals 61. And this is what it always all goes back to. It goes back to God and whatever else that I'm talking about. That's why I said our language is 26 letters. God equals 26. And that's probably why in the song he screams multiple times, "What if God doesn't care?" or whatever. If you know the song, he screams, "What if God doesn't care?" multiple times. And, you know, he's probably singing about Saturn, who all of these people seem to worship. So one last thing in regards to this post, the word sacrifice also equals 46 and 73. and he was born in the year 73 or whatever else. But sacrifice equals 46, like Slipknot. So anyway, I made that post, and this is where it gets personal. And and a lot of times in these videos, I talk about how my own life is synced up to this matrix as well. And that's why I think that the Freemasons just know about this system, and they understand how it is being used, and they can possibly manipulate it, or, you know, they just base everything around their life around it. Yeah, so they can manipulate it and, you know, use it to their advantage. But anyway, I made that post, and then the next day, I went to work, and I worked with my girlfriend's brother, and he was singing the song Through the Glass, or I think it's just called Through Glass, and he's a lot younger than me. He's only, what, 18, I think? And he was singing that song, and he asked me, did you know that the lead singer of Stone Sour was also the lead singer of Slipknot? And I was like, well, yeah, of course, you know, because I grew up with Slipknot. I live in Iowa, whatever else, you know. It's hard not to know who Slipknot is, and hard not to know Corey Taylor and Stone Sour, right? But he's young enough where he might not have known that, and he asked me if I knew that because he thought it was pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, of course, you know. And it was just so weird because I had just made this blog post about Slipknot again, never told him about it, mentioned nothing about it. I went to work, and then he asked me that question. That was like one of the only real conversations we had the whole night, and it involved Slipknot. So I typed his name out in Gematria, and he equals the opposite of Corey Taylor, 59 and 157 in reverse. Corey Taylor equals 59 in the reduced reverse and 157. Also, their full names, Corey Taylor's full name equals 79 in the reverse reduced, and his full name equals 79 in the reverse reduced. And I also pointed out he was born on 1/11/99. That has a date numerology of 111, born on 1/11. And also, the day that this happened was 5 months, 9 days before Dane's birthday. And look, remember, Dane Cole equals 59, Corey Taylor equals 59. Also, I pointed out that it was 128 days before Corey Taylor's birthday on 12/8. A lot like 128. Also, 4 months, 6 days. Remember, Slipknot equals 46, and the reverse reduced. Paul Gray died 46 days after his birthday. Sacrifice equals 46. I also just documented the place that we work at, the gas station here called the Town and Country Store. And just recently, in the past month or so, I discovered this number 317. I was watching The Simpsons, and they had an episode where it said, right as I was writing a blog post up about Freemasonry, it said, Freemasons run the country. And the episode title, I can't remember what it was, but if you wrote that out in Gematria, it equaled 317. And if you wrote out Freemasons run the country, it equals 317. Also, if you write out Scottish Rite Freemasonry and the reverse method, it equals 317. And the song that Dane was singing was called Through Glass. I always thought it was called Through the Glass, but just called Through Glass. And it has all these interesting numbers connected to it. 155 and also 61, just like I just showed you, time, Christian, Jesus, cross, church, Holy Spirit, you know, God. But 155 is also significant because Christianity equals 155, truth seekers equal 155, Freemasons equal 155. If you read out 317, it also equals 155. And I've mentioned the owners of this store before, because the town that I live in is famous, or it's not necessarily famous, but it is known for killing the last keeper of the sacred pole of the Omaha Indians. And it was in the year, what was it, 1868, and the Yellowsmoke equals 68, or the town equals 68, that's what it is. Dunlap equals 68, and they killed the last keeper of the sacred pole in the year 68. But the reason that's so significant is because the town was saved by the Freemasons. The Native Americans came to the town to kill everyone, and the Freemasons went out in their outfits, and they did symbols or whatever, and the Indians did not kill them because they understood the symbols, and they believed them that the people who killed him had left the town and whatever else. So this town was saved by Freemasons, right? And the guy who owns this town and country store is also a tax guy. He has a tax business uptown, and that same building where his taxes are done used to be the old Oddfellow Lodge or whatever. And it never existed since I've been alive, so I don't know how long it's been gone. But just interesting, if you look that up in history, the building that he is doing his business in, it is also where the old, Oddfellows aren't Freemasons, but they're a secret society, and they have a lot of other ties that go back into it. Anyway, his name, Brad Gross, equals 140, just like Corey Taylor. And his wife, Lisa, who's the one who runs the store, her name equals 61 in reverse, you know? So, just weird. Also, Oddfellows equals 115 and 155 in reverse. Just like Freemasons equal 115, Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the small way, equals 115. The town and country store equals 115 in reverse reduced. And then I went on to talk about how I talked about my girlfriend's brother one other time, and it was in regards to the death of Stan Lee's wife. And to tell you the truth, I had no idea who Stan Lee was until he told me one day, and because I don't watch superhero movies ever. But look, you know, Stan Lee equals 76 in Gematria. His wife died on July 6, 7/6. I talked a lot about the Jesuits in this post, and the Jesuits and the Freemasons are interrelated. Pope Francis is a Freemason, but Catholics aren't supposed to be Freemasons. And you know what? I'm not going to go into this post. Maybe I'll make a different one on it, because I wanted to watch the Spider-Man movie too, because, you know, she died the day before the Spider-Man movie came out or whatever else. So it's not a coincidence that all that happened. But just wanted to bring it up that I did talk about him before. And since I've been doing this, it seems like every now and then you stumble upon something or someone that just never ends. It just keeps coming up over and over, and you're supposed to understand something from it. And that's a lot what he talks about in that song even, you know, it's right in front of your eyes to see it. And that's what Gematria, it plays a big part into the signs and the symbolism that go on every day in this world that we live in, that it's just craziness. So I just wanted to bring it up that I talked about him before. And I guess just before I posted this blog post, I turned on the TV or whatever, and I checked the TV guide, and I saw that Idiot Test was on. And for another reason, I paused it, or I took the picture when it said 115 up here, and Idiot Test equals 115 in reverse. And the only reason that I paused it was because I noticed that they were introducing twins. And if you followed the blog that I have, which I'll leave a link in the description, but literally there's been so much twin symbolism going on. It's been crazy. George Clooney and Jay-Z both had twins in the month of Gemini as well. Gemini, and the astrological symbol is the twins. My girlfriend was pregnant with twins and had a miscarriage. It's just so weird, you know? And I randomly turn it here, and the first thing I see is something to do with twins. But it's funny, just last night, I've been thinking about how it's connected to the Minnesota Twins and going to be in the World Series possibly. But just last night, I discovered a whole bunch of stuff on how all that twin stuff might actually be showing me the Cleveland Indians being in the World Series because of the curse of Rocky Colavito that happened in the year 60. And Minnesota Twins equals 60. And this is how it seemed to work. I get shown something a whole lot, and then it's always connected to something that is not exactly what I'm being shown, if that makes any sense. But we'll see. And I really don't care. I just want to keep mentioning it because I just keep seeing this twin stuff. Sorry for rambling. One last thing I want to point out in this post and this video is the fact that I found a video of Corey Taylor doing a dedication to Chester Bennington, and I noticed that Lincoln Park equals 115 and 155 in reverse. Stone Sour equals 52 in reduced reverse. Chester Bennington equals 52. So, possibly nothing. I know other people have done tributes to him as well, but just documented that for whatever the reason. But gonna leave it at that. Hopefully you understand that there is a system that is being used, and there are people who understand this system using it to their advantage. People get murdered by the numbers. Our sports leagues are scripted by the numbers. Our media is scripted the same way. I mean, even the Powerball winners are scripted this way. Like this lady who supposedly won the Powerball the other day. She won $758.7 million. If you write out 758.7 million, it equals 243 within the reduced normal way with the V exception. If you write out $758.7 million, it equals 243. And if you look up this lady, you find out her birthday was 4/23. So that means she won 243 days before her birthday. And the amount of money she won equals 243. If you write out Powerball winner, it equals 79, just like where she won the Powerball. They originally said that someone in Watertown, Massachusetts won it. Watertown equals 139, just like Powerball. I just talked about the Mega Millions winner too. It was the same way. Let me find that one really quick. I just want to, this video is long enough anyway. Throw in some of these other little things at the end. Just hopefully it will get into somebody's head that the world is coded this way. But we had an article about the Mega Millions being worth $393 million. If you read out 393, it equals 129. And Mega Millions equals 129. And in the reverse way, Mega Millions equals 195. If you read out $390 million, it equals 195. So Mega Millions equals the same as 393 and also $393 million. Also, just stuff like this. Lottery equals 38, gambling equals 38, casino equals 38. What happens when you win the lottery? You get rich. Rich equals 38. Nevada equals 38. But, we'll leave it at that. Hopefully the point got across. Have a good one. Peace.